Hi friends, it's Lethea from Farmview Creators. Today we're going to work on the Stepping Stones Barn Quilt Block from the Rust Covered Cottage by Christina. Jamie just released her Christmas winter line, so this is from that. I just got my order in, so I got the Christmas minis and the Stepping Stone Quilt Block. So we're going to work on the Stepping Stones today. We'll work on the minis another day, but they're super cute, so I had to show you. Plus, I wanted you to see how amazing everything is wrapped up. So I'm going to start by labeling all my pieces. Now, I'm not going to use all the pieces, so those ones I'm taking out right now, we will not paint. But I do like to keep them, especially if they're nice, regular shapes, because you never know when you're going to need them. So I'm just going through and I'm labeling my numbers, and I'm putting an A beside the first color and a B beside the second color. This middle piece, I was not sure what color I wanted to paint it. Talked to my designer friend, my husband, and asked him what he thought, and he said to try the lighter color, and if I didn't like it, then to go back in with the darker color on top. So that's what I did. But we're going to stain the background with Van Dyke Brown Antique and Glaze. All of these products are from Couture. The Antique and Glaze and the mineral acrylic paints that I use, and the Topcoat. And I almost forgot a spot, but I'm glad I saw it. Giving that a good dry, and then I'm going to go in with Folk Art Crackling Medium. I love this Crackling Medium. I store it on its side, and then I shake, 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 shake. That activates all the crackle. And then if you brush it on very thin, you're going to get small crackles. You go on more thick, you're going to get larger crackles. I usually want larger crackles, but for this, I wanted thin crackles, so I went in with a very light hand. You set that aside for an hour to dry. It does better if you let it dry naturally. You can force heat it dry, but you have to be careful that you don't keep your dryer in one spot too long, because it will make it mess up. So I put all my colors, or all my pieces, on the sticky board based on what color, and I turned them so that the wood grain was all facing the same way, and those top little squares and the center square, I'm going in and painting them with Autumn Sage. Again, this is a mineral acrylic paint from Couture. I am in love with this color. It reminds me of I think it's eucalyptus from Decor, I think. And that used to be my favorite, but now it's this one. And now I'm going to go in with Basil. It's a very nice complementary color to the Autumn Sage. I love the two-tone look that is very popular right now, so that's what I'm going for here. And I am painting one thin coat on all of my pieces first, painting with the grain of the wood. The paint goes on much more smoothly if you go with the grain of the wood, and it doesn't take as much paint. It's much better. I highly recommend going with the grain of the wood. Giving all of that a light coat. I'm going to give it a good dry, and then I'm going to go in with my second coat. On the second coat, I am more heavy-handed, so that is definitely a thicker coat. Still painting with the grain of the wood. It's not as big of a deal on that second coat, but I still like to do it. I still feel like the paint goes down easier and more smoothly if I go with the grain. Just giving all of that nice second coat, trying not to get it goopy on the sides, and if I do, I try to wipe it back. But you'll see later where I did need to sand a couple of sides and scratch off some thicker paint, because you want your pieces to line up, and you don't want globs of paint just kind of on your edges being apparent and evident. So just giving that basil a second coat. Such pretty colors. Then I'm going to give that a good dry. and set that aside. And it's been an hour, so I'm going to go in on top of my crackle with Paint Couture's Farmhouse Linen, another mineral acrylic. It's just a really nice creamy color, and I am just hitting the spots where it is going to show. I do go out of the lines, but that's okay. I'd rather go out of the lines than not cover enough area. But you do need to work quickly, and the less brush strokes you make over top of the crackle, the better the crackle is going to be. Also, if you're a little thicker on that coat, I find that the crackle is better. Kind of overheated it there, so you could see the bubbles, but most of them kind of sunk back in as it cooled off. And now I am placing all the pieces where they are, because again, I wasn't sure about that centerpiece being the lighter color. So I wanted to see how it looked before I totally committed to that by putting the distressing and the top coat on it. And I did decide that I loved it. And here you see I'm going in and hitting a couple of sides with my micro sander. And then I should have hit some more, because you'll see I use my finger and scratch off some later. And now we're going to go in with my Debi's DIY Dark Wax and a, it's actually a stenciling brush, but I've committed using it for wax. I keep it in a Ziploc bag so it doesn't dry out. And it just works really well. I have two sizes. I decided I wanted this to be fairly grungy, so I went with the wider or the larger size. On my background, it was a little, I wanted it to be grungy. I wanted to get that wax into the crackle, but it was a little too much, so I just wiped it back with a baby wipe. That's perfectly fine. I did that on a couple of the green pieces as well. And now we are going to glue it in. You always start with your frame. And then, as you saw, I made sure that it was lining up with the edges of the backboard. And then I am putting in my corners and my sides first. I like to work my way in. Some people like to work their way out. But regardless, start with your frame. Trust me. I have tried it the other way and it did not work. And get that centerpiece in just because I wanted to make sure that it was totally set up and I had it straight so that when I put in the other pieces, I didn't wiggle it around. And then going in, making sure I'm getting my pieces where they are supposed to go based on my labels. I could see enough to figure out exactly what numbers went, plus I numbered them in a certain order. So all of my even numbers are on the right side and my odd numbers are on the left. And here I just put my triangles on the sides that they were going to go. And then I'm fitting them in, making sure they're nice and tight with those stepping stone squares. And I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So I'm going to go in with a brush and I'm going to quickly get some of the excess paint out. I love the art glitter glue because it does not get your fingers goopy and it is a very nice, strong bond, but you can still wiggle it around if you need to. And the reason I was brushing the glue away, I don't normally do that because it does dry clear, is because I had not yet put on my top coat and I did not want there to be globs of paint that I was painting my top coat on, if that makes sense. Usually I like to do my top coat on individual pieces before I put it all together, but because I wasn't sure about that centerpiece, I did it differently today. And now it's dry. That dead flat top coat takes out all the shine. Here it is out in the little sunshine we had this morning. I absolutely adore it. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.